So I'm in my opportunities page. So I'm logged in as a user here that is in an account management. I'm in a whole bunch of roles, but for now I'm going to sort of play this to start as an individual who's managing an opportunity. And I've got a series of opportunities here. I'm going to jump into this Contoso support customers. We're going to use this sort of story throughout. And as it loads up that information, you're going to see sort of the standard things you would see in CRM. And this could be configured to be, your specific business. You may have summary data, you may have some financials, you might be quoting products, other different things. But you'll notice we've added a couple of other tabs in here. One is that concept of a work plan. So the work plan's loaded up. I've got different views, and I'm going to deliberately use this quote view. And I can, if I want to, let me grab that, sorry, missed. I could grab this off of a template. We might have a series of templates here for the types of engagements we do with customers. We use this internally, so whether it's a kickstart, if you have that concept, it's a study or an initial analysis maybe, or it's a time and materials project, a milestone-based project, an agile engagement, a staff augmentation project, whatever those might be for you, we have these different templates. And so I could come in here as part of the sales process. I'm in a proposal stage, you see here, and I could start to build out, whether I use a template or I just start from line one, what is this engagement going to look like with this customer? And now I may be in a position as the account exec because I'm using a template, I've had conversations with the customer to do that first pass on my own. Or potentially I need to collaborate with delivery. It's say, this is what the customer's asking. Here's a bunch of notes we have elsewhere in CRM, and it's part of this opportunity. Let's work together to come up with that schedule that I need to include in the proposal, or it's going to make part of the contract or the RFP response or what have you. Maybe I want to be able to show, I don't have any data in this one, but a quick timeline type view people are familiar with, or I want to show this in a Gantt chart view. Shrink that down and change the zoom so I can put that into the proposal so that they could see, yeah, look, they met with us, they understand our requirements, and this is how they're going to go about doing the project. We're looking forward to working with them. Common requirement in the professional services business. What I can also develop as part of this opportunity is a high-level resource plan. I want to be able to tell the delivery team, look, here's the timing we think this will land based on, when the RFP will close or when the customer sort of told us they want to start. And the resourcing we need, it can come from that schedule. Actually, I'm looking at the schedule right here, so maybe I'll just go pull this up. No, schedule's fine. I can pull this off the schedule. That's what I want to look at. And so here's the roles we think we need. Now we've got some named resources in here. Perhaps that's because they have a history with the customer or they have a specific certification that they need to be part of the project. And it's good to tell delivery that, look, we all agree, we've probably had some conversations that Tom is going to have some early tasks on this project because of a unique expertise that he holds or some experience with the customer, and there's a trust there, and we need to involve him in this project. So you can see the different roles, and we're going to use that data as we plan out how we execute as an organization and how we take on new work up against all the other work that we already have going. And so that's the opportunity profiling. As I build this out and as we move towards closing and winning this work, we have a work plan, the ability to define it, and we have this ability to define a resource plan. I'm going to jump over to the portfolio analyzer for a second. And I'm here in the analyzer. I'm looking at a view. I think I'm on my schedule summary view. I am. So you could see in here, I've got a whole bunch of projects and I've got opportunities. These things aren't closed yet. They are in play. I'm going to change my zoom just quickly here. I want to see this a little bit differently. So I can look at, I've got some upcoming opportunities. We have a rough timing of where they might occur. And now what I want to look at as a business is what would the resourcing requirements be? So let me just quickly change the range here where the data resides in the demo. So let's switch to 22. So I'm going to look at kind of the next 5 quarters of work. And you'll see in a couple of places we've got over allocations. And so this tells me we could do this daily, and every organization who does professional services, this is the constant struggle. There's always new opportunities coming in. Some of them don't start when we thought they would. Other projects that we are going on run long for all kinds of different reasons, or don't start when we thought they would, or had to slow down. And it's impacting the sort of dynamic world that we live in terms of how someone's going to transition from a past client engagement onto the next one that's been sold, and who's going to be available and when, and what does that look like. So right here, I can quickly do that analysis. I could come down here and say, this opportunity, we're going to have to talk to that customer about possibly delaying it. Now, you can see that actually caused me a problem in a different part of the calendar. I'm not trying to fix it here, but I wanted to show you how quickly that data came up and showed me right away that has different impacts on our resourcing. It didn't resolve something the way I'd hoped it would. It actually created a different problem. So we need to continue to work the model to see where can I move engagements, or where do I need to, as you can see here with solution consultant, I probably need to hire. Or down here, whatever Jared's working on, he's in product development, he's a developer. Clearly, we're going to need to either move him off of some proposed projects or some existing ones, or combination of both. And we may need to hire an additional developer to take on some of that work. So it's that quick analysis of the resource pool to understand as things change, as new opportunities come into view, and as other ones become closed, maybe one's lost and we didn't expect it, it comes out of the model. How does that impact this? This becomes an iterative and a constant analysis that we're capable of doing. So now let's assume that we won the project, and I'm going to go to my projects list and grab that same project. And now you will see we're now engaged in executing the project. So we have the data that came over originally from CRM. We have contract amounts and so forth. We have business case or other data that we might have captured, but now we also have some other information here. I'm going to go back to the work plan. And the work plan's up. Actually, I'm going to switch over just quickly. So I have my schedule. Jump back here for 1 second. There's that schedule. Maybe this is a time materials project, so we have all the sort of power of scheduling, what we're going to report on for financials, where we're going to look at milestones and milestone complete type work. We can track all of that information. But remember, I talked about that idea of, while we have a waterfall schedule, potentially we want to manage some aspects or all aspects of the project using an agile approach. So in here, I have a list of requirements gathered probably early in the project as part of a requirements gathering exercise or a requirements gathering sprint itself. And underneath that, I have user stories. And so right here inside PSA, I could turn right around and say, well, now let's show me the sprints that we have. So we've created with this, we've agreed with the customer there's going to be 5 sprints for now. And we've started to drag and drop tasks into sprints. And when I do that, I could see these tasks, these user stories rather, are in sprint 1. These ones are in sprint 2. Sprint 3, we're not quite full loading it. Sprint 4 is even less. Sprint 5, we haven't put anything in yet. Maybe we haven't finished gathering requirements. Maybe we're sort of waiting to see sort of what we might put in there as we go forward. But we're going to start sprint 1. We're actually going to start it in a few days, and off we go. And these are the tasks that we've agreed to that we're going to work on first over a sprint that's going to last 2 weeks. So I could define new sprints. I could change a sprint and say, I want to increase the number of target hours. I maybe want to make it a little bit longer, and so forth. I can change the sprint as I need to. So we're supporting the multiple methodologies that we want to be able to deliver with. In this case, we're going to deliver with some agile approaches to this project and an agile engagement almost underneath or in conjunction with the overarching waterfall project and how we originally scoped the project. We still have the resource plan, but what I wanted to look at now was the financial plan, because as we get going in the project, we've built up some capability here to say, we have our original estimate, and I could pull in the rest of the resourcing as this project's scheduled and pull in that data to see where is that cost going to reside in the different months. Let me just go to quarters, maybe see that a little bit quicker. Sure. There we go, just looking at this in quarters quickly. And you can see we've got some variance here where actuals and so forth, we can compare that. So up here, we can look at what's our estimated cost, what's our actual cost, and what have we invoiced? And maybe if we needed to, what would be our milestone payments? So that we could quickly analyze as part of the delivery team, what was our original cost? In this case, I'm looking at it by quarter, maybe months would be a little more granular, a little more focused. What's our actual cost coming in? Are we tracking to be profitable on this project? What have we invoiced? What have we recognized? And how are we tracking on that as well? So I'm just quickly looking here at actual versus estimate costs and see how we're performing. So right now, Obviously, estimates are higher than actuals because actuals haven't come in. Actuals will come in from up here in the My Work or My Timesheet, and I'm going to go there in a couple of minutes. The next thing that I wanted to show, so now as we staff these projects, as we sell these projects, we need to staff them. So earlier I showed a view where we could see what's coming at us, where were we going to have bottlenecks and so forth. But now let's assume that project has launched, and I know I've shown you sort of some of the pieces of how you would execute it once it's launched. But one of the tasks in there would be to convert those generic resources to named resources. So here's that entire resource pool. Here's where I can look at my project manager role on customer support. Where's those hours going to occur? And now I can go and start to convert that from a generic to a named resource, go through the whole exercise of figuring out who's most available, and start to staff those projects. So centrally, all here within the PSA solution, I can convert my generics to my named, or if I've got named resources that are over allocated like Jared is, I can start to move some of the work from Jared to others in the organization who have availability and who are also developers, so I can start to swap people in and out of projects due to whatever reasons might be, customer relationships, specific expertise, and so forth, that might drive those decisions. So again, embedded within all of this is that overarching view that a resource manager and a resource management team can use to staff the projects once they're won. We know what the demand was. We knew when it was going to occur. Now we can actually react to it. So that I would show them my work in my timesheet. So to bring it full circle, now we need, as a resource, I need to be able to status the tasks that I'm on, or the backlog items, the risks, issues, and so forth, so that we could start to feed that actual cost, that progress on the project, that ultimately will lead to some status information for the sales team and how they're managing that project or that customer engagement. So here's my work, or I can do my timesheet. So embedded within this PSA solution, no need to go to a time system somewhere else. We have timesheets here that feed right back in. One pane of glass, one source of the truth all the way through, from the initial engagement with the customer and sizing the project through to its execution. Here's where we can capture that information, whether that's going to be a chargeable task or a non-chargeable task against the particular project or in question. Two final pieces to cover. Now back as the AE, I want to go in and see how my customer's doing. I've got a couple of customers here. I want to look at what's the related thing. So I want to go look at my projects that we're doing with this customer. There they are. And we can surface a variety of views. I have one in here that quickly shows me so some demo data, how those projects are progressing, what was the contract amount, what's the estimated budget, what's budgets left, any variance. I can see that I'm on track financially and financial health for these projects. That's good to know. If I'm going to go meet with that customer, I might want to know this. I might want to know the effort summary. I might want to pull up some other data about these particular projects so that the conversation I have with the customer is about future work and so forth and addressing any issues. If I need to dig deeper, I could jump into, and here we're going to leverage Power BI. We've built a set of dashboards all related to this PSA solution. So I'm going to focus on some of the account ones, just quickly account dashboard, where I might want to quickly look and say, hey, how is that Contoso customer doing? I can click the power of Power BI and quickly sort of get an overall dashboard view. I've got account summary data, account financials data, account efforts reviews, and then on into the portfolio and so forth, a whole raft of reports that we could pull against this information. So we performed all of this inside Dynamics 365. We captured our opportunity. We created our accounts even before that, and we managed that opportunity, and we started to provide delivery with the information that they needed to be able to plan ahead for future resource requirements, to engage with us on sort of how to best to scope the project if necessary. We worked with a schedule that's going to reside throughout the engagement with the customer, as opposed to one that's proposal-based versus the one that's for delivery. It's the same one from cradle to grave in this whole story. And we've brought it full circle with lots of ability to analyze that data and learn from it, again, to look for where we're doing well, where we're not, and how we can get better. So I've covered a lot of that just a moment ago. our goal here is to try and provide that synergy, that relationship between the sales and the delivery teams and the finance teams and the other sort of stakeholders in this process to create that visibility, that single version of the truth all the way through, to make sure that we are aligned in setting expectations with our customer, with our sales team, with delivery on what's being asked of us, what we're signing up for, and how we're going to get it done.